Good morning. I'm coming. Quit looking at me like that. Making fun of.
For today?
There is that like a rushed morning, so we're good. All right, like a rushed morning, so we're good. All right. Middle school Bible study. You guys are in? Yes. High school. You're starting in September, right? So Monday night Bible study for middle school girls and middle school boys still going on. Shane was giving me details as he was running to go do tech team. So they're doing more middle school Bible study Monday 6, 7:30. David, you guys are rocking and rolling with that. So super easy. And then September is the church picnic on September 17th. There is also one other thing cool that's happening that day.
Baptism.
Wow, you were so, you missed that cue. That totally went right over your head. Baptism, September 17th.
Papers in by September 10th.
Right, so if you go on the church app, so if you don't have it, check to see if your mom and dad have it. You fill out a baptism form. You need to hang out with me for a little bit where we talk about baptism, what it means, why we get baptism, what we believe as a church. Sorry, I'm eating my microphone. It's really weird. Why we believe what we believe. I take you out to dinner, free food. It's great with you and your parents. We talk about that, and then we dunk you on September 17th. Is that me doing that? What is it? That's why we can't have nice things. Is that me, or is that a motorcycle outside? What is that noise? Okay, I'm sitting there freaking out thinking that's my microphone. Hold on, let me fix it. Can you see, how flustered I am this morning? I don't usually get flustered.
Yes, very much so.
Whatever, we'll just go with it. All right, so I'll fix it when praise and worship's going. So, Will, you give me time. Cover me. Last week we played a game. We had a lot of fun. This week I want you guys to enjoy. So for those guys who weren't with us last week, we played a game, especially our sixth graders that are coming in. We usually play a quick game right here, but there's a guy that never gets to play the game, and it's this guy. This guy never gets to play the game. He's never been able to win anything, and so I decided, what better? We've done some of those games like lingo and slang and stuff like that. So I decided, why don't we let you play a game finally, and then we get to laugh at you. I mean, we can have fun with you. That's what we're going to do. We'll laugh with you, not at you. And then we thought, what would be even better is a game between you and your small group leader. So you get to pick your small group leader. Unfortunately, Shane's running the tech team, so do we have a small group leader of his that... Zach is on vacation, so that narrows the field down to you, John. So John is going to help us out. Everybody give John a round of applause. Are you ready? You sweating a little bit? All right, so very simple. We've done slang terms in the past, you need to understand your students. Sometimes you have to understand us old folk, because us old folk, we move slower, but we're still kind of fun, and we used to have slang too. So go ahead and give the intro slide. Boomer versus Zoomer, and we're going to see if you understand him, and we're going to see if you understand him, and who can do it better. Does it make sense? Pretty simple. You guys, what I do need you guys to do is not shout out the answer. You can whisper to your neighbor, because you're going to know some of these. If you say it out loud, John wins easily, and you as teenagers lose. So, but let's see how well you know each other. Does it make sense? So we'll start first. Give him the first slide. I'll let you click through, Nevaeh. Okay, so I need you to answer the question, what do you do on Twitch? Is he getting close? He says, I feel like you don't know what Twitch.
No. I've heard of it, but
Do you guys know what they do on Twitch? Is he right? Oh yeah, let's give him a microphone. It's a TikTok type of thing. Here, we'll give you there you go. Gave him a mic and everything. All right, so what do you do on Twitch?
Make videos?
Make videos is what he says. All right. Oh, sorry. Watch other people play video games. So yeah, you can be a content creator as well. So give him the next one. This one's for you. Which candidate for the U.S. president said, read my lips, no new taxes? Sorry, I did it in a voice that didn't totally work with who that was. I went with a Nixon voice there. Who said, read my lips, no new taxes? Very famous one. Do you know this would be in his lifetime, so I think, yeah, all right. So it's got to be like one of 4 or 5. I'm not throwing you under the bus on this one.
I forget my presidents.
You're going to crush this game. Does anybody know what it is? Young kids, youth. What do you think it is? You just yelled it out. What do you think it was? She says George Bush. It is George Herbert Walker Bush. You should have come up here for this game. All right.
My bad, guys.
Who is PewDiePie? PewDiePie.
I have no idea. Never even heard of such a thing.
You guys, at least some of you guys know who that is. Do you know who it is? No. No? Man, I thought I picked ones that like all.
He's an old soul.
He's an old soul. He wears collared T-shirts and everything. All right, PewDiePie is a Swedish YouTuber with over 111 million subscribers.
I know who Mr. Beast is.
He was a Twitch. Yeah, he knows who Mr.
The
Beast
only
is.
thing I know about him is he's a YouTuber. That's all
He's
I
a
know.
YouTuber. Okay, so you at least know who he is. All right, let's try another one.
Wendy's.
Where's the beef? All right, I got it from here. All right, so
Wendy's.
dang it.
Who said it, though?
Shocking. Yeah, in the commercial, who said it?
The guy that worked at Wendy's. I have no idea.
No. It was a little old lady. She was just like, "Where's the beef?" So yeah, it was a great commercial. What are you doing if you're flossing at a party?
You're dancing.
You're dancing. So he knows you. Can you floss? That's the question.
I'm not going to.
Can you floss?
Not going to.
Okay. All right, sorry. In what movie would you hear the line, "Nobody puts baby in a corner"? No, shut up. Nobody puts baby in a corner. Nobody puty baby in a corner. Nobody.
What movie?
And I had... Sorry. Do you know the movie?
No. I'm sorry.
All right, we might have picked the wrong person or the wrong questions. What's the movie? Dirty Dancing. Why are you watching that movie, sinner? I'm just kidding.
I don't know what that movie is.
What's a snap streak?
A bunch of snaps in a row with one person?
Do you get it? Bunch of snaps in a row with one person. But he's kind of got it. When two people send direct snaps to each other a day, the longer they do it, the longer. Who's got the longest one in the crowd? What do you got? He's like 4. I got 4. What do you got? Who's the longest? 158. Anybody beat 158? What do you got? 1,100 and some numbers. She's got a friend for life. Or you guys, it's your mama! That's a good one. All right. Who was Mr. Ed?
A guy in a movie.
No, actually, it wasn't even a guy in a movie. Can anybody sing? Can you sing the theme song?
No.
A horse and a horse, of course.
Was he in a TV show?
He was in a
Main
TV
character?
show. It was the
Main
main character, yes. It was not a person.
Was it like Inspector Gadget type?
No, it was a horse. It was a horse. It was a talking horse. Yeah. So.
Watch it. Good stuff.
Yeah, it was good, wholesome family TV. What famous singer-songwriter changed their genre from country to pop in 2014?
Taylor Swift.
He knows his youth. This is how much he loves you. He gets into culture and understands you
I
deeply.
think the bad part is I don't even know half these boomer questions, so.
Help him, please. Take him home. Sit him in front of a TV for a little bit. What was a party line? Back in my day, probably your day, what was, all the old people in the back are shaking their heads too? Shut up, you are.
I was gonna say, we didn't do that, but I know what it is.
She's yelling at you in the side going, "You idiot." A party line was a phone line shared between multiple households, sometimes a dozen, each with their own distinct ring. It's kind of like how we got ringtones, like how you change ringtones. There it goes. And we had to take the cord in a different room and hope that your dad wasn't listening on the other line in the house. That was super awesome. All right, what is happening when two people are dapping? Dapping you up.
Like something about your style?
No. Well, somebody's dapping you up. He knows. He's got the answer.
No idea.
No?
Isn't it like a handshake or something?
Yeah, it's you
They have a name for that?
just show him with your sister real quick. Just dap her up. There you go. That's it. That's all that is.
We did that 20 years ago, but it wasn't.
Yeah, but there's a name to it now. Get with it. Don't be so sus. Big L. What was the toy fad that marketed rocks in a cardboard carrier?
What's fad? Who's fad?
What's fad? Oh my. It was what was drippy back then? I don't know. Just rocks in a cardboard box. That's it. That's all it is. You could send one to your friend. You could buy it for a birthday present. Settle down back there. You're not winning this game.
I'm
Like
not.
you don't understand your leader.
The pet rock.
It is the pet rock. In what generation is Chad a popular name? This is for both of you for the tiebreaker. What generation? Boomer, Zoomer, Gen X, Gen Z, Gen Y? This is for the win.
The millennials.
He says it's the millennials.
I feel like we had a lot of Chads.
Boomers, I guess.
No, it's not boomers
Wait,
or zoomers. It's
Gen
one of
Z?
the. You think it's Gen Z? You think it's millennials?
I don't know.
Chad was most popular in Gen Xers. Sorry. I tried to help you out win a game, but you ended up losing it anyway. So I tried that for 1 week. Give them a round of applause. We'll give them their mic back. So, and it gave you guys all a break from running around the room. So I'll go back to you guys running around the room in a week. So I'm excited to announce this is our first week in many weeks that we have a full praise and worship team and a worship leader to lead them. So at this time, I would like Will and his praise and worship team to come up and lead us. Wow, yeah, they're all quiet.
Good morning, everybody. Yeah, hey, it's okay. It's okay. We need some excitement in here, guys. Come on. All right, can we stand as we go into worship today? We're going to start with a song called Glorious Day. I want you guys to get excited. Let's have a good time today, okay? All right. 1, 2. Sing, I was buried. I was buried beneath my shame. Who could carry that kind of weight? It was not true till I met you. I was breathing but not alive. It's all my failures, I tried to hide. It was my tomb, till I met you. Cause when you called my name, oh, I ran out of that grave, out of the darkness, into your glorious day. You called my name, and I ran out of that grave, out of the darkness, into your glorious day. And sing, now your mercy has saved my soul. Now your freedom is all that I know. Sing the the old made new, the old made new. Jesus, when I met you called my name, and I ran out of that grave, out of the darkness, into your glorious day. You called my name, and I ran out of that grave, out of the darkness, into your glorious day. You sing, I needed rescue. I needed a rescue. My sin was heavy. The chains break at the weight of your glory. I needed shelter. I was an orphan. Now you call me a citizen of heaven. When I was broken, you were my healing. Your love is the air that I breathe. I have a future. My eyes are open. 'Cause when you call my name, I ran out of that grave, out of the darkness, into your glorious day. You called my name, and I ran out of that grave, out of the darkness, into your glorious day. Come on, can we lift a shout of praise in this place? Let's give a hand clap and say, Lord, you're worthy. Thank you, God. So this morning, as we were preparing for worship, I was just looking over the song set. This song's called Battle Belongs, and I was taken back to a passage in 2 Chronicles. It was, I believe, 2 Chronicles 20. It talks about how Jehoshaphat, who was the king of Judah, was faced with an army that was coming up against him, and they were just a huge group of enemies. And it was a really daunting task to defeat them. They were outnumbered. It was just, it was overwhelming, and they didn't know what to do. But then, I believe it was a guy named Jeremiah came, and he told Jehoshaphat that all he needed to do was give the battle to God, and God would fight it for him. So instead of sending the soldiers out to the front lines, they sent musicians and worshipers out to the front lines, and God took care of that enemy. They destroyed themselves. So this song really just talks about how giving your battle to God, He will fight. He can fight it for you. All you have to do is just worship Him, give Him the glory and honor and the praise. So as we sing this song, just reflect on that. Sing it from your heart to God. Give up any battle you have, anything that you're worrying about, anything that brings you anxiety. Give it up to God in this moment. Singing All I See. When all I see is the battle, you see my victory. Yes, you do, Lord. When all I see is the mountain, you see the mountain move. Singing as I walk. And as I walk through the shadows, your love surrounds me. There's nothing to fear now. Oh, there's nothing to fear now, for I am saved. Can we sing, so when I fight, I'll fight on my knees with my hands lifted high. Oh God, the battle belongs to you. Every fear I lay at your feet. I'll sing through the night. Oh God, the battle belongs to you. Sing it if you are for. And if you are for me, who can be against me? For Jesus was are the ashes. When all I see are the ashes, you see the beauty. When all I see is the cross, God, you see an empty tomb. So when I fight, I'll fight on my knees with my hands lifted high. Oh God, the battle belongs to you. Every fear I lay at your feet, I'll sing through the night. Oh God, the battle belongs. Can we sing? So when I fight, I'll fight on my knees with my hands lifted high. Oh God, the battle belongs to you. Every fear I lay at your feet, I'll sing through the night. Oh God, the battle belongs to you. Oh, almighty fortress, almighty fortress, you go before us. Nothing can stand against the power of our God. You shine in the shadows, you win every battle. Yes, you do. Can stand against the power. Sing almighty, almighty fortress, you go before us. Nothing can stand against the power of our God. You shine in the shadows, you win every battle. Nothing can stand against the power of our God. They sing, so when I fight, I'll fight on my knees with my hands lifted high. Oh God, the battle belongs to you. Every fear I lay at your feet, I'll sing through the night. Oh God, the battle belongs. Let's sing. So when I fight, I'll fight on my knees with my hands lifted high. Oh God, the battle belongs to you. Every fear I lay at your feet, I'll sing through the night. Oh God, the battle belongs to you. Come on, give us a hand clap of praise in this place. God, you are worthy. Come on, sing this chorus today. Sing, Christ be magnified. Oh, Christ be magnified. Let his praise arise. Christ be magnified in me. Oh, Christ be magnified. The altar of my life. Christ be magnified in me. Sing, oh Christ, oh Christ be magnified. Let his praise arise. Christ be magnified in me. Oh, Christ be magnified. The altar of my life. Christ be magnified in me. Yeah. Listen, we're creation. We're creation, suddenly articulate, with 1,000 tongues to lift one cry. Then from north to south and east to west, we hear Christ be magnified. With the whole earth, with the whole earth echoing his eminence, his name would burst from sea and sky, from river us to the mountaintop. We'd hear Christ be magnified. Come on, can we sing this from our hearts today to Him? Sing, oh Christ be magnified. Oh, Christ be magnified. Let His praise rise. Christ be magnified in me. Oh, Christ be magnified from the altar of my life. Christ be magnified in me. Yeah. We sing, I won't bow to idols. I'll stand strong and worship you. I won't bow to idols. I'll stand strong and worship you. If it puts me in the fire, I'll rejoice 'cause you're there too. I won't be formed by feelings. I'll hold fast to what is true. If the cross brings transformation, I'll be crucified with you. 'Cause death is just a doorway into resurrection life. If I join you in the suffering, then I'll join you when you rise. And when you return in glory with all the angels and the saints, my heart will still be singing. My song will be the same. Sing, oh Christ. Oh, Christ be magnified. Let His praise arise. Christ be magnified in me. Oh, Christ be magnified from the altar of my life. Christ be magnified in me. Oh, Christ be magnified. Let His praise arise. Christ be magnified in me. Oh, Christ be magnified from the altar of my life. Christ be magnified in me. Lord, that is our prayer today. Lord, be magnified in every part of our lives, God. Lord, as we walk in this place, as we walk out of this place, Lord, let your glory just follow us. Let your presence follow us, God. Let it be so evident, Lord. Lord, continue to work in our midst today, God. And we pray this in Jesus' mighty name. Amen. You may be seated. Thank you, guys. Can everybody just give one round of applause for this group up here? Great job, right?
Ooh, the feedback. I want you to know that like they only practice like this morning, so they're learning each other. They're getting vibes. Tech teams learning kind of how Will sings a song. So I think that was pretty good for just a couple minutes of worship together. So we're excited to have Will on our team, for our praise team to grow and work with him and become the musicians that they can be, the singers they can be. If you want to join Will's team, whether it's through the tech team, whether it's through learning lights, so the hidden in the back people, or if you want to be on stage and working on praise and worship, he will work with you and get you to a place that you can feel comfortable. So please see Will afterwards. We're excited to have him on staff and praise and worship back in this building. That sounded so sweet. So thank you very much, Nevaeh. You did a good job, kind of like, well, where are we going? So great job with that, Miss Nevaeh. But let's get started. We've got a lot of new happening. Some of you guys were with us last week. Some of you weren't. And so last week we just did the do's and don'ts of OcYth as the sixth graders moved up with us. So we went through that. You're going to learn a little bit more in your small group classrooms about what we do and how we do things here at OcYth. But this is a typical morning. We do some announcements. It's student-led. You can see students read in tech team and singing praise band. Students live host. Owen will be here hopefully again next week. Their family was in a little bit of a I would say fender bender, but it was pretty pretty severe accident, but everybody in the accident was okay. So Owen, our student, he's over here usually. He'll be back next week. He got hit in the head. He's got one of those concussions. So he's a little bit more aloof than usual. But he will be fine, hopefully, Lord willing, and they'll recover well. And so he'll be back next week. Student-led, if you want to be part of this on our stage team, come see me. We have exciting opportunities here at OcYth for you guys and a chance for you to serve in many different ways. I encourage baptism, but I'm so glad you chose Battle Belong because this week we're going to start a sermon series called Brave, a way to follow, a way to walk, and a way to live, to be brave. And so for some of you, we talked about this a little bit last week. So one of the bravest things you probably can do coming to OcYth is wear deodorant. So I'm just saying, I wanted to remind you of that from last week. One of the bravest things you can do is just, Axe. If you do the Axe, just 1 second spray, not the whole 45 minutes. Don't use the whole can. It's multiple purpose use. So just a reminder from last week as we covered the do's and don'ts of OcYth. We want you to have a good time. We've got a lot of exciting things coming up. So let's get into the Brave series. For us to be brave, what must exist? Fear. Wow, somebody got in the first question, nailed it. I was waiting for a bunch of things roller coasters and things like that. For brave to exist, fear must be there. Were you designed in fear? Wow, man, you guys are hitting it all week. All right, so go to small group. No, I'm just kidding. You guys got it. We know the right answers to these questions, but do we always live the right answer to these questions? Nah, yeah. So brave is different for each of us. So in small group, one of the questions that I wrote on the sheet is, and you'll answer in small groups. You guys don't need to raise hands. Answer them in small groups. These are all will be covered. Bravest thing that you've ever done. It's different for all of us. For me, bravest thing I ever think I've ever done. I don't get on roller coasters again. If you're in 6th grade, you will know why. I almost kill people on roller coasters on a regular basis. They break when I go near them. I'll tell the story eventually. But I won't get on it. I'm not brave enough to get on another roller coaster because I like life mostly. But for me, the bravest thing I actually ever did was I became a scuba diver. I got certified. I wore the mask and dove down, and I've done some shipwreck dives. I learned how to do that. Bravest thing I ever did was we were on a vacation. Somebody's like, "Do you want to go swimming with the sharks?" And I'm like, "What? They do that? Aren't you called food if you do that?" And they're like, no, it's totally a bunch of fun. And I'm like, okay. I didn't want to be a weenie, you know what I mean? All the guys are like, "Yeah, we're going to do this. First thing that we're going to do now that we're certified." And I'm like, okay, let's do it. On the inside, I'm screaming. And so we got on this boat. We got all the choppy waters. Okay, here's what we're going to do. And I'm like, okay, this is exciting. We're going to do this. What do? We're going to go to the bottom. We're going to lock arms, grab each other's hands. I'm holding hands with other dudes. Okay, bravest thing I'm going to do. So you're going to get on your knees down at the bottom, hold each other's hand, lock in, elbow to elbow real tight, because your natural instinct's going to want to freak out and swim to the top. Last thing you want to do is swim to the top. And I'm like, okay, we can do this. Don't freak out and swim to the top. It's great. Once you're down there on your knees, we're going to take a bucket. We're going to open it up. It's got a bunch of dead fish in it. Sharks will come. I'm like, oh, God, what? And so, yeah, it's called chum. Yeah, I'm freaking out. And so we all get down there. We get down to the bottom. We're all locked in. There's 8 of us. And there's the guys that come off the end, go to the bucket. So they've done this enough that the sharks are already hanging out there. They saw the boat and they're like, food. And so hopefully they were thinking hot dog dinner instead of meat, steak dinner, because tastes good. I know it. If you were cannibals, you would know too, but you're not. So that's cool. We go to the bottom of the ocean. We're locked hands. The guy next to me, as soon as the sharks start eating the chum, freaks out. Total, ah! You can hear him screaming in his mask. And I'm like, oh God, if he breaks free, because they say if you surface, they'll think you're like an animal to eat too, and they'll attack like the area you left too. Like they'll look for like, because if that one can swim, the other ones are just not moving, therefore they're like the weak one, and they chomp you. And so I'm like, that's me! So I grabbed his hand with like gator-like grip. I'm just squeezing from, I'm not enjoying this anymore. At first I'm like, oh, look at the beauty of Jesus' creation. They eat things, and I'm one of them. And so gator grip on this poor kid's hand, like he's ready to surface and he's not going anywhere. I look over to the other guy, he's like, I got it too. And like, we're just holding on for life. We get up to the surface and we both punch him. Like, just in the arm. You idiot, you almost got us eaten. So I would probably do it again, as stupid as that sound, because I'm really not afraid of that kind of stuff. I enjoyed it. I learned how to scuba dive. I know the proper thing to do. And so, but I felt pretty brave at the end. Like at the end, I was like, yeah, whoa, I'm a man. Had nothing to do with me. I just went down there and held a guy's hand. So, so wait, why is this on here again? The deodorant's back on. I didn't mean to put it on there twice, just once, but it obviously was subconsciously wear it. It's different for everybody. For me, it was like diving down with sharks. I felt really brave. For some of you guys, it's going and playing, like this weekend playing football. If you're like 115 pounds and you're playing on the varsity team, I would consider you brave, because that's just not smart. Give you another example. So for me, it's big sharks and stuff like that. This week, Delaney, my 5-year-old, she's going to kindergarten. And we're like, man, is she going to be brave enough to get on the bus and leave mom and dad? She didn't even turn around. Like, I'm out! Kindergarten, let's go! But she was brave because we're like, for some kids, she's like, I got to school, and one girl cried the whole time for her mommy. It was ridiculous. I'm like, where'd you learn that sass? Like, we sent you to school for a day, and you came home sassy. No, she's already sassy. But like brave's different for everybody, right? Some things that you don't think is scary, like you're like, oh, I'll totally do this. Because you don't have the fear of it. The question is where did we get that fear? Because that fear permeates a lot of different areas of our lives. Maybe it's a bad experience. Maybe it's not wearing deodorant. I don't know why that keeps getting in there. But we were not designed for fear, and we know this from the very beginning of the Bible. I want you to first understand who you were created to be in this series. So for some of you guys, this might be like old hat. I know who I am, Dwight. Every week you say that you're beautiful, wonderful, handsome too, settle down. With a purpose, passion, desire, you were created for something. God saw it fit that he put you together and gave you to us as truly a gift. Like, I enjoy relationship with you. Some of you guys more so than the other because you're turds. No, I'm just kidding. I love you all. But we were designed in a way that fear wasn't supposed to be part of the equation. In the very beginning in Genesis, so God created human beings in his own image. God's image is good. It is wonderful. It is a loving father. It is a healer. It is one that gives abundance and blessings and kindness. It's grace and mercy. Like, that is the nature of God. We are created in his image without all those faults and sin. Male and female, he created them. Then God blessed them and said, be fruitful and multiply. This is that part of the Bible where a mommy and a daddy love each other very much. And that's a totally different sermon series. But that's what we're designed for. We're designed in his image. We're designed to be part of the creation process. We get to, when a mommy and daddy loves each other, babies. There you go. We've had the talk. This is great. We're covering it all the first week for some of you 6th graders. Fill the earth and govern it. Reign over the fish of the sea. So you were supposed to be leaders. You were supposed to be the boss over this earth. You were supposed to have responsibility and work. You were supposed to do all of these things. But nowhere in there is fear in the equation. You're supposed to enjoy. You were supposed to swim down with sharks. And guess what? In the beginning, they didn't eat you. It would have been a lot more enjoyable if I would have known that fact and lived back then. The birds in the sky and all the animals that scurry along the ground. But then God said, look, I have given you every seed-bearing plant throughout the earth and all the fruit trees for your food, and I have given you every green plant as food for all the wild animals, the birds of the sky, the small animals that scurry along the ground, everything that is life. And that is what happened. Then God looked over all he had made, and he saw that it was very good. He didn't say, there's some scary parts in there. They're going to be a bunch of turkey burgers to each other. They're going to be rude and unkind and mean. No, he said it was good. And evening passed and morning came, marking the sixth day. Why did they have fear? You don't get to answer. You answered all the questions. You settle down. Anybody else? Why did they have fear? Why did Adam and Eve have fear? See, I asked you a question. You raised your hand. I asked you. Yeah. No. When did they have fear? Yeah, they were totally afraid of being naked. I would be a little bit afraid to be naked in front of a lot of people too. That would just be like, it's not my ideal thing to do. I've been to the beach sometimes and I'm like, some of you guys have no fear. No, I'm just kidding. I love you. But he replied, I heard you were walking in the garden, so I hid. I was afraid because I was naked. And it wasn't necessarily because he was naked. When did he realize he was naked? After he had eaten and disobeyed God. Fear comes when brokenness happens. We can't have brave without fear. So God says, listen, I'm going to give you a helper. Later on in the Bible, he talks about this Holy Spirit. I'm going to give you a way out of this, my son, Jesus Christ. I'm going to, this brokenness that has introduced fear, that creates this reason why we need to be brave. We didn't need to be brave back then. We were the bosses underneath God. We answered only to him, and in him we had relationship, and a great one. So God answers over the next couple of Bible verses, chapters, books, even to the very beginning. He said, how did I make you? And how he made you is without fear. And so he expects that from us as we live life, to go through life with... Right now there's healthy fear. Cliff diving, you should have a little fear every time you do it. One of my biggest fears in life is, yes, obviously diving with sharks, I would be a little bit knee-chattering. Some of you guys have shared this with you. My biggest fear in life is public speaking. It has been since I was a little kid. I'm terrified to get in front of people. That's why I act goofy on stage, because it was a way that I found to cope. And they're like, oh, that's perfect. Your coping skills will make you a perfect youth pastor because you're creepy. Weird. But ultimately, my biggest fear is public speaking. And now it even got worse because I don't want to tell the message of Jesus any different way than what God intended. And so I'm so afraid as I'm studying, I'm like, I got to get this right. I got to understand who you are, God. And I have this fear of getting it wrong. We all have our different fears in this life. But God encourages us. As some of you guys see, I hide in that back room during praise and worship. It's not because you guys are bad. I love you. Praise and worship, you guys sounded great. I wasn't leaving going, oh my God, that's terrible. I pray that God gives me strength. I pray that God takes fear from me and that his word can be spoken through me. This isn't Dwight's message. This is God's message. And you were designed the exact same way. So in this series, we're going to talk about not only our individual fears, how we can cope and overcome it, but also one of the biggest fears everybody has. And I'm willing to bet you can ask the same question to the adults up there, little kids down. Well, no, maybe not the little kids. My little kid has no fear of saying what's on her mind, unfortunately. I'm like, we got to work on filters here, child. One of the biggest fears people have is to leave this building knowing I'm loved, I've got the purpose, I've got a desire and a passion, God put it in me, and then going and actually sharing that with other people. Some people are like, I don't think so. I'm okay with it with me, but I ain't going to tell anybody about it. Helping us become spiritually brave. Actually knowing who we belong to and why we belong to them. Sharing love and kindness with other people through what God has already instilled in us, and that is a heart of bravery without fear. We weren't designed with it. In fact, the Bible gives us a couple of verses. In fact, he gives a lot of verses. I just literally grabbed the first 3 I could find off the top of my head. There are a gazillion. You type in, do not be afraid, and there's a million verses. One of them, do not be afraid, for I'm with you. Don't be discouraged, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. I will hold you in my victorious, already won the victory for us. We don't need to be afraid. Whoa, did you mute me? Don't you mute me. Just kidding. God on the cross died, won the victory. We shouldn't be fearful of the things that we hope and believe in because they are true and they are right. I will hold you in my victorious right hand. For God has not given us a spirit of fear and timidity, but of power and love and self-discipline. Sometimes one of the biggest issues with our fear is we're not disciplined enough to go through the actions and with the things that scare us. You know, that dude freaked out because he was a brand new scuba diver, and for whatever reason he freaked out. But my discipline and the things that I learned from scuba diving and all those things held me firm, held me confident. I was confident in the instructions they gave me and the ability that I could do the things that I could do. You can do that with your spiritual faith as well if we walk in discipline. Discipline's hard because sometimes we mess it up and we need to be corrected. But God says you can do it. And so spiritual bravery is something that God calls you to. Such love has no fear because perfect love expels all fear. I'm not afraid to go and hang out with people that I love. I'm not afraid to go and to talk to people that it's easy to talk to. Fear comes when I fear rejection, when I fear somebody saying mean things about me. And God says, hey, you've got that relationship with me. Even if everything else fails, you still have the anchor of me. Love expels all fear. If we are afraid, it is for fear of punishment. And this shows that we do not fully experience his perfect love. If we are living in timidity, it's always a hard word for me to say. If we're living in a life that we're fearful of everything, then we haven't felt the pure peace of Jesus Christ. And I encourage you, so for you 6th graders that haven't heard, we had a sermon series. There's a difference between believing in God and knowing in God. Belief, you can believe in things, but that leaves a small window of doubt that maybe what I believe isn't wrong, somebody can change my mind. But if I say 2 + 2 =, okay, he said 9, so he's still believing in math. He hasn't quite started to know math yet. Sorry, I was just kidding. But eventually we know it that we can't go back to going, I believe it's 4, but maybe not. Except for you. We're still working on him. Sorry. I'm just kidding. You raised your hand, you did it yourself. If you raise your hand, you could be part of a sermon illustration. But you get what I'm saying? You have to know God. And if you know God, if you know Jesus, if you felt true peace, then there is no fear of walking into a flame and saying, hey, you've got this brokenness in your life. I'd like to walk alongside of you. Hey, you're hurting right now. I'd like to do something. You know, as crazy as it sounds, I talked to Brent, who got in that car accident with the Blair family this week. And I was talking to him right away, and he goes, man, it's crazy. We're experiencing so much love from our church, people dropping off food and the calls and stuff like that. He didn't fear the aftermath. He feared making sure everybody's okay, but he just felt peace that our church was going to surround him. You should feel that too. And then you should be so bold to say, hey, I want you to feel that too, and I want you to feel that too, and I want you to feel that too. And you can't help but sharing your love and relationship with Jesus. But to do that, you need to expel fear and know who Jesus is. And that's what we're going to talk about over and over again for the next couple of weeks. And hopefully some of you, if not all of you, take that message to heart and go start sharing your faith. We were made fearless. We were designed in the image of God, and God fears nothing, not even the devil. He was willing to come down to this earth, stomp the devil, go to hell, proclaim his victory, come back up and say, hey, all of this is victorious because I am God. He wasn't afraid of any of that. And he wasn't afraid of that because he says very clearly, for the joy set before me, I did all of these things. You are God's joy. Do you find joy in other people? Are you willing to share relationship? Are you willing to be brave? Are you willing to step in the heart of other people's lives? Are you willing to be kind and gentle? We talked about the $40 million day. Start doing it. All this stuff ties in together. Start being the light of Christ in the world. And it takes somebody bold and courageous and who has pushed out the fear in their life. And so I pray that you guys learn that over the next couple of weeks. So Heavenly Father, thank you so much for OcYth. Thank you for a fantastic praise team this morning. It's so great to hear the melodious music, praising and honoring you through worship music. We worship our time together in small group here now. We pray that they learn to be bold and brave. We learn that they come together as a team and they go out into this world and they fight on their knees and they battle the devil through all kinds of ways that they can show that they are followers of you. And they do it because you love them first. And so in return, we give you all of our praise and honor. Help these students to realize that and then to go apply it in their lives.